No competition like no I in my team. No, all they wishful thinking or is it a nice dream? And we can see him coming, no need for high beam. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing.
Welcome to Post Point with your host, Winton McCullough. Hey, it's time to talk some sports, y'all. I'm glad you decided to talk some sports with me. Yo, I'm bringing my A game today because this is the playoff edition, the all or nothing edition, the winner go home edition, the you ain't gotta go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here edition. Get your popcorn ready. It's time to start the show.
Wasn't with me in the gym, so how can you contest? On the hilltop and ran many miles to be the best. Don't know what team I'm on, but I'm like, how you see my chest?
LeBron James is one of the most scrutinized athletes in all of sports. Coming up short in 2 final appearances, James will face a high level of scrutiny in the summer of 2012. After going down 3-2 to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, to many, defeat seemed imminent. There was so much noise, so many people counting him and the Heat out at that point. James will block it all out and put on a performance of the ages. From the opening tip, even before then, James seemed different, almost like he was devoid of emotion. Boston could have played with 6 guys on the court that night, and James still wouldn't be stopped. Whatever the defense gave, James took advantage. Not going to let him get to the hole, he took the mid-range. A little aggressive on the perimeter. He beat them to the cup. Not going to double well. Get this work in the post. It didn't matter. James finished with 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. His 45 points came on 26 shots, where he only missed 7, going 19 for 26 from the field. There was the performance against the savvy Pistons team in the 2007 playoffs, where James scored 25 straight points. But it would be Game 6 in the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, where the kid from Akron became a legend. That game was unbelievable. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better NBA playoff performance. Yet because of the pulverizing figure that is LeBron James and playing in Michael Jordan's shadow, many forget what took place June 7, 2012. Every generation of basketball should know about it, making LeBron James' performance in Game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals the flashpoint hero of the day.
Look my uniform, I'm having it proudly way I'm dressed. The more I'm getting better, me more you getting worse. And thinking we competing, but nah, this ain't versus. Keep your emotions in, cause this loss, it might hurt, bro. Of course we came to win, got the squares out our circle.
There's been a lot of mixed reviews about Super Bowl 59. Some didn't like it because it was a blowout. Some people were entertained by Philly's dominant performance. I'm on the side that was entertained. It wasn't easy to do what Philly did to KC, which speaks to Philly's dominance. That performance was brilliant in all aspects of football. There are a few things I like to point out about both the Chiefs and the Eagles. There's twisted narratives about these teams in the aftermath of Super Bowl 59. For KC, look, the Philly crew just came to the yard with a bigger stick. It's as simple as that. And then they trapped you. You couldn't regroup or call any reinforcements. What I mean by that is KC is an elite team that just got dominated. The stick was the Eagles' D-line, and KC had no answer for it. They could not make any adjustments for it, and nobody was coming to save them. But this won't be the demise of KC. They just got to retool. They had no answer for the D-line because the Chiefs took away from their strength on the interior of the offensive line to stabilize the edges of the offensive line. They did this by moving a very good guard in Joe Tooney to left tackle, and this worked for them because the other left tackles on the roster were offering no resistance. It's just Philly was having none of that. But don't get it twisted. KC ain't going nowhere. This is a first-class organization. Just how they retooled after they lost to Tampa in the Super Bowl, they will retool here as well. For Philly, their performance of the Super Bowl was refreshing. In the era of offense, it was good to see a team that is built from the inside out, who relies on defense and their running game. What I want to highlight about Philly is for some reason, there's a dynasty narrative out there. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Philly's performance, but the fact that I know they caught KC off guard does not got me thinking repeat or a dynasty with this team. When you match up with Philly, you cannot be bothered by their physicality. Matter of fact, you have to be comfortable playing physical. And there are teams out there that are built to match up with Philly's physicality. KC just wasn't that team in Super Bowl 59. Now, saying you're going to deal with the Eagles' physicality is easier said than done. They are the Super Bowl champs. They are unblockable. And at the same time, they can block you. They keep your quarterback under duress. They don't have blazing speed in their secondary, but with their pass rush, it would be hard to attack them deep. Now, in their secondary, they do have an instinctive group of DBs that are tough and will hit you. You could say the same for their linebacker group, which hosts an all-pro Zach Braun. The thing about this defense, which brings me back to the physicality, is that you can run on them if you are physical up front and you got a dog at running back. On offense, Philly will always have a chance because of that offensive line. It's one of the best in the league. And then you got a special talent like Saquon, a man who does NFL street stuff in a live NFL game. You got a dual threat quarterback and 2 number 1 receivers. And you see why Philly are the champs. So to recap things here, for KC, they were embarrassed, but I expect them to be back and better than ever. For Philly, they were dominant. They were impressive, but they're not so far ahead of the rest of the field. However, the Eagles do have the juice now. Let's talk Luka trade. I want to talk about the outlook on the teams and who won the trade. Many are speculating about why Luka was traded, but Stephen A. Smith summed it up great. The story here is not the conspiracy theory nonsense. The story here is the Mavs, who had a direct hand in the development of Luka Doncic, a player who was supremely talented entering the prime of his career, just got done taking the Mavs to the finals, even though they lost. The Mavs basically said, this man has undermining issues that is not worth a Supermax contract, which Luka was up for. It's one of those things where there's no negotiate. The rules of the NBA says that if a player achieves a certain amount of success in a certain amount of time for one particular team, they are worth a $350 million extension. I think the apron rules played a part in this. Teams do not want to be in the second apron, which went into effect in 2023. And it's a big reason why Big Cat is in New York. You're going to see a lot of teams in the luxury tax make big trades because they do not want to be in the second apron. To stay on Luka, when the Mavs look at the finances and who Luka is off the court, they said, we have to get off of this player. So much to the point they targeted one guy, Anthony Davis. It's not just Luka's undermining issues because it could have worked. They just didn't want to give a supermax to Luka. They'd rather give that kind of money to an athlete that is more committed. In my opinion, the Lakers are the ones taking the risk. Luka is 25. If he does not get in better shape, he is going to be a supremely talented player that breaks down at an early age. When I was little and you came by my house and my parents was whooping me, you didn't have to ask, why are you being so mean? I deserve the whooping. You have to ask, Lord, what went and done did now? That's the same thing here. The Mavs are not a dysfunctional organization. They make calculated moves, which they have been doing going back to the Dirk days. I'm not wondering what the Mavs are doing, and the question now is Luka going to respond? He did say something in his press conference that's interesting. He said this is a motive. Now, Luka speaks good English, but not the best. So when he said this is a motive, he could have been responding to what the Mavs said about his level of commitment, even though he denied what they said, like, yeah, this would be a motive to trade me. Or he could have been saying their reasons for trading him is motivational enough to become a more committed athlete, which for the Lakers' sake and just for the sake of good basketball, I hope is the case. I like to see Luka as an adequate NBA athlete. He's a supremely talented NBA player, but he's a below average NBA athlete. There is something else I want to point out about this trade. A lot of content creators and insiders, reporters, they were highly upset about how this trade went down, and I couldn't figure out why. It was like the Joker said, why so serious? But upon further reflection, it became clear to me. Rob Pelinka and Nico Harris just pulled a Frank Lucas on sports media. For a lot of these insiders and reporters, the foundation of their aura is based on the rumors they get from leaks. By Pelinka and Harris keeping the trade of the century on a hush and then giving one man in media, Shams, the scoop, eliminated any possibilities of leaks. Media and the way things are reported has evolved, and so has the ones who are impacted by it, like executives and GMs. I feel that they're going to use the small circle approach going forward when big deals go down. And this threatens the likes of content creators and insiders who rely on leaks. They're going to have to find a different way to get their clicks.
They pass me the rock, I got us running up the scope. I pass it to my partner, he gon' run it up some more. Training solo dolo, we been win on one accord. Who y'all think the hardest in this litty world of sports?
There's a lot of chatter out there right now about fixing the NBA. And you know the chatter is real when Adam Silver gives his 2 cents. Don't believe me? Let him tell you.
We're open here. We talk a lot about potential change of the game. I would just add back to some notion of a 40-point of a 40-minute game. I mean, because this game is so global, one of the things we'd like to see over time is creating a more consistent set of rules globally around the game. Like, you know, again, the Olympic basketball, I'm sure you watched, you know, on NBC and Peacock, the U.S.-Serbia, U.S.-France, those are, people who are basketball fans, some are saying those are 2 of the best games they ever saw. Incidentally, if you went to a 40-minute game with the issues around load management and resting, it would be the equivalent of, I don't know the exact math, taking like 15 games off the season.
I feel there needs to be balance, and whatever adjustments are made, we could be realistic and say they're not going to revert back to the Jordan, Kobe, or let's say the LeBron and the Miami Heat era. I think there are 2 things that the NBA can do that blends the old school with the new school. First, it's important to understand players and coaches are going to strategize based on the rules of the game. So by adjusting the rules, the style of play will change. One is to take away that freedom of movement rules. Around 2018, the NBA started enforcing rules to encourage freedom of movement to create more space and more threes. The ref's whistle got ridiculous once these rules were enforced. To me, it's the biggest reason why this era of basketball is called soft. Also, they need to bring back more hand checking. When the NBA got rid of hand checking, you saw a lot of players who were somewhat offensively challenged became above average to good offensive players, mainly when it comes to ball handling. There used to be a time when it was vital to get the ball in the hands of the point guard because of his ball handling ability. If you didn't during the hand-checking era, it was turnover city. Also, hand-checking increases the level of difficulty, and I feel that fans will be entertained by the best players in the world executing and being special against a higher degree of difficulty. By bringing back hand-checking, it will increase the intensity on the floor, and that goes for the freedom of movement as well. Thanks for rocking with your boy today. Like and subscribe to the podcast and follow me on Facebook. Until next time, peace.
Championship, and why not go to Disneyland? We can change our plans like we can go and spend some bands. I'm a team player, so a loser's not a fan. The holiday season, watching sports with my fans. No competition like no I in my team. Are they wishful thinking, or is it a nice dream? And we can see him coming, no need for high beams. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing. Wasn't with me in the gym, so how can you contest? Walk the hilltop and ran many miles to be the best. Don't know what team I'm on, but I'm like, how you see my chest? Yep, my uniform, I'm having it proudly way I'm dressed. Who better? I think we're better. We're cutting the hardest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all.